From the deserts of Egypt to the windswept hills of Scotland, windmills have been used for centuries to harness the power of the wind for grinding grain. But one inventor from Malawi has taken things a step further. He built a windmill from junk materials that not only grinds grain, but also charges mobile phones and powers a television. How did he do it? And how can we use this incredible invention to help fight poverty in Malawi and other developing countries? That's what we'll find out today. Malawi is a small, poor country in southeastern Africa. It's landlocked between Tanzania, Zambia, and Mozambique, and has a population of 20 million people. Most of them live on less than $2.25 a day. In fact, Malawi is one of the least developed countries in the world, with an economy heavily reliant on subsistence agriculture. This means that most people grow just enough food for themselves and their families rather than for sale. And while the country does have some deposits of useful minerals like coal, limestone and tobacco, it doesn't have much of anything else, so it imports most of its fuel, food and manufactured goods, all of which costs a lot of money. Not surprisingly, almost half of the population lives below the poverty line, so it's not surprising that someone living in Malawi would be motivated to invent something that could improve the lives of themselves and their community. And that's exactly what William Kamkwamba did. William was born in 1983 into a poor farming family in a village called Kasungu. When he was just 14 years old, there was a terrible drought, and his father, a sharecropper who worked on a tobacco farm for low wages, struggled to buy food for the family. Young William wanted to help, so he went to the library to see if he could find a book on building irrigation systems. He found one, and then another, and soon became fascinated by the idea of building a windmill. But everyone thought it was a crazy idea, especially his father, who told him he should focus on more realistic goals like passing his exams. But William didn't listen and spent 2 years scavenging materials for his invention. First, he collected bicycle parts, rope, plastic sheeting, and wood from discarded crates. He then got permission to build his windmill on the roof of his school. After working through the night, he finished his invention, a small wooden tower with 2 sets of blades on top, connected by a shaft to a stone grinding wheel. Then, with the help of a friend from the local carpentry shop, he added a 3rd blade and an electrical generator. But it wasn't easy. In fact, at first it barely turned at all. But after much tinkering, William figured out how to adjust the blades so they could catch even the faintest breeze. And when it came, the results were amazing. Soon he was using his windmill to grind maize for his family and the other villagers, and even had enough electricity to charge his mobile phone. News of William's invention quickly spread beyond the borders of his village. In 2007, he won first prize in a national science and technology fair and soon met the British charity organisation Practical Action, which helped him refine his design and patent it. Today, William runs his own company, Green Tech Engineering, where he produces improved versions of his original windmill. They cost about $1,000 each, which may sound expensive, especially considering that the average income in Malawi is under $1 a day. But the villagers only need to pay for one, and then they have a lifetime supply of freshly ground maize, plus the extra electricity to charge their phones and power other small appliances. This can save them about 20 hours of labor every week, which means it can double the income of a typical household. In fact, after just 5 months of using the windmill, one farmer was able to double her maize harvest, which she sold at the market for a nice profit. Another used the electricity to power a sewing machine, which she used to make new clothes for herself and her children. And yet another started a small grocery store, which has become the focal point of the community. Today, William's inventions have transformed his village and inspired thousands of people across Africa. In fact, One entrepreneur in Kenya has come up with a new way to mount his windmill, which makes it easier for farmers to install and repair. And another in Uganda has developed a special attachment for the blades that lets them collect rainwater, which can then be used for irrigation. But why is it that these windmills are so effective? Well, it all has to do with the shape of the blades. You see, the blades of William's windmill are curved on the top and flat on the bottom, so that when the wind blows over them, it moves faster above than below. Faster air moves over the top because the air pressure above is lower than below. This creates an upward pulling force and turns the windmill. It's the same reason why an airplane wing curved on the top and flat on the bottom generates lift as the air moves over it. But airplanes need lots of moving parts and are extremely complex, so they require lots of energy to get going. Windmills, on the other hand, don't. That's why they're so effective at using the wind to do work like grinding grain or pumping water. Of course, that was just the first part of William's invention. The second part is how he attached a grinder and a generator to the shaft of the windmill to produce useful things like flour and electricity. In fact, that's the real secret to William's success. He combined two different technologies that have been around for centuries, curved windmill blades and a simple grinding wheel, into one device that can improve the lives of millions of people. And that brings us to the question, how can we encourage more inventors like William? Well, for starters, we can support organizations that help people in developing countries like Malawi use their natural resources to improve their lives. We can also encourage our governments to invest in education and training so that more people can develop the skills they need to invent and innovate. And finally, we can celebrate the success of inventors like William and make sure that their stories are told so that they can inspire others around the world. You see, William's story isn't just about inventing a windmill from junk. It's about ingenuity, hard work and determination. It's the story of a young man who refused to give up on his dream to help his community, and in doing so, changed his life and the lives of thousands of others. His story reminds us that no matter where we're from or what we have to work with, we can always find a way to make a difference in the world. And speaking of making a difference, I want to take a moment to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want to learn more about windmills, check out the links in the description below. I'm the host of this channel. And until next time, keep thinking.